Otakuology Podcast with Otaku Mike and Jin Graves.
Hey everyone, what's up? Jin back with another episode of the Otakuology Podcast. Best show in the world, just gonna say that. With me, as always, is Otakus of the Mic.
I am Otakus of the Mic.
Drop the mic.
Hear me roar.
Meow. Drop the mic.
No, if I do that, it might break.
That's true too. And so we're actually kind of doing a show off the cuff that we came up with. It's one that's been around, or a subject matter that's been around for a very long time. And we're going to give you our top 5 overrated and top 5 underrated manga. So
our opinions.
Our opinions, yeah. Except, my opinions are going to be Mike's at some point. Wink.
No.
But anyway, yeah, we haven't done one like this, I feel like, in a long time. But we wanted to do this one for y'all just to kind of have fun with it. And
after the last episode, I think we need to have a little fun.
That's true.
That's true.
Are we going to have to start singing in the background? Girls just want to have fun.
Yeah. Totally. Except you gotta replace the girls with boys.
Crap. Podcasters just want to have fun.
Oh.
Exactly. Podcasters. But let's get into it. So I guess we will give you like what position on our list it's on, and then move up from there, and we're going to swap back and forth and go from overrated to underrated after that.
Okay,
so,
that's what you want to do?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So, I guess I'll go first since I'm talking.
All right.
So, my first overrated manga, and I feel like I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this.
Oh no.
Especially from some of our friends at another podcast. Little bit weebish. My number 5 overrated is Attack on Titan.
Why? Why is this overrated in your opinion?
I feel like it's just overrated because it has a lot of down spots. Like,
okay,
when you're reading it, there's sometimes where I've just had to put it down or like forced myself to read it, and I'm like, I mean, there is enjoyable stuff. Like, the characters are enjoyable. It's just kind of like part of the pacing with the actual story itself.
Okay. I can see that. I can see that.
But it's number 5 just because of that and the big amount of hype that it has. I feel like for no reason, when there are some people, some cosplayers that I know that don't really watch it, but then they also like dress up and want to play a Titan and things like that,
Okay, I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I think those might have been fighting words.
Hey. I'm sure that other people were disappointed with some of it as well, okay?
Probably. I mean, nothing is perfect all the time,
Yeah. Well, if it was back a little more before we did like the time skip part, this wouldn't have been on the list because it would have still been awesome. But when they did the time skip forward, I feel like it took a lot of wind out of its sails for me.
Okay.
I started hating the series at that point, and I still haven't finished reading it, even though I think I have like 2 volumes left. So it just really took it out of me to try and finish it and read it.
So I guess if you say yours is going to offend somebody, I guess mine might offend somebody too, or other people. My number 5 is Bleach.
Is it because of the new awakening of it, or just overall in general?
The new awakening, the old awakening, the it won't just die. Pun intended, because they're all supposed to be dead, right? Um,
This is true.
like I have read Bleach. Uh, I have read like the first couple volumes of it, like the first like five, and
Yeah,
like I enjoyed the beginning. Like when I mean the beginning, I mean him like getting his powers, fighting the monsters, sort of hunting the monsters, tracking him down a little bit, or the ghosts or whatever they're called. I forget what they're called.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like the very, very beginning.
right.
Like he gets his powers. He has that the cooler looking sword. I hate that other sword that he gets. That other sword was terrible look designed. Um,
The big one with the halberd or the meat cleaver?
the first one, the Hellbird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the very first one. It looks like a big, huge like katana, kind of.
Yeah, with the hilt,
Yeah,
the fat
yeah,
one.
the hell. Yeah, that's the one that I like, and like I like it that he kind of struggled, and uh figuring out this world, and then like after that we go into the Soul Society, and it lost me for everything. I was like, I am done. I'm not reading any more of this. This is not what I signed up for. Like it became like very much like how a lot of people say like superhero versus superhero, like how Marvel does a bunch of times. We'll get
Yeah,
superhero versus superhero fighting, and we got uh Soul Reaper versus Soul Reaper, and they weren't fighting really any like was it Shinigami? Was it Shinigamis? What were they called?
yeah.
What were they called? Is that what it's called?
Shinigamis. Yeah,
Yeah, Shinigamis. They weren't fighting those. They were fighting other Soul Reapers.
yeah,
And I just got bored. I got so bored so fast. I didn't really care for his little side character group really at all.
yeah,
Uh, it just, I lost interest, and I just to me it is very much overrated in my opinion.
yeah,
Especially with how like there's a big fan base that just fucking hated Bleach after it. Like they were fans. They were
yeah.
fans. And then like they fucking turned so fast when that manga ended. But there are
Burn the
people still out there.
witch.
There are people still out there holding that torch high, and that is perfectly fine. But to me, Bleach is an overrated manga.
That's great. Goodness, goodness, goodness. All right. So my number 4 is one that's going to piss you off, I feel like.
Oh no, why me? Why are
Cuz
you going after?
it's one that you like.
Okay.
So I feel like it is also overrated. And this might be because I haven't exactly read it. Like I know things about it. I've seen some of the
Uh-huh.
anime,
Can I
but
guess? Can I
but
guess?
yeah,
Is it JoJo?
it's JoJo. I have never been able to read the manga or anything because there is so many people that are hyped over it. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, isn't it like Fist of the North Star? Because they're pretty close.
It
And I
it
know
pays oh
some
it pays homage to Fist of the North Star pretty
and
hard.
and I know some of Fist of the North Star. And I wouldn't like that big on Fist of the North Star either, but I enjoyed it, right?
Yeah.
I think the one that really kills this though is the fans. The fandom really
Yeah.
kills it for me because I've never been able to sit down and enjoy it. And whenever I feel like I'm getting there, somebody's like, "Oh, what are you going to read?" I'm like, "Oh, I think I'm going to start JoJo's," and then I get this whole flood of like everything, and I'm like, I can't read this, So it's
Yeah.
been I've picked it up and tried to and put it back on the back
Well, the
burner
thing is
like 15 times.
you only have the third part, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so you would have to start from part 1 and then go from there.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't care. I don't
yeah.
care about
I
that.
I mean, I can understand that. I totally can. because for the longest time, the fandom also kind of turned me away from it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, like, one day I just picked up the first volume. I just went and bought the first volume because I was interested in it.
Yeah.
I became interested in it, and I read it, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I totally get it, but I mean, it does pay super homage to Fist of the North Star.
Yeah.
It
Well,
that was its inspiration,
yeah.
But I
Well, and
feel like it.
I think the other thing with the fan thing is how close people are, because I have part of my friends and brothers and everything that super enjoy it too, and I've heard them get into arguments about it. I'm like, if y'all get in this heated
Oh, I
of an
mean,
argument over this, I can't do it.
that's kind of why I stay away from the fandom, but I still enjoy the book.
Right.
Like
Well,
I
and
don't enter
I think that's the thing is I would like to stay away from the fandom
like
long enough
the
to
only
read what I
the
have.
the only
But I
person I've
think because I have friends that are so close that will argue about it, that I can't fully enjoy it.
like the only person I've talked about JoJo's with is a person that I work with, and that is it.
Hey, it's JoJo's. Yeah,
That is it. I've talked about him. I've talked a couple times. He'll see me at lunch reading the manga, and he'll ask me like, "Oh, what part are you on?" And we'll start kind of talking, have a conversation and whatnot, and sort of
yeah,
discuss it.
yeah,
That is my interaction with the JoJo fandom. Is one person. Like I don't go on the internet being like, "Oh, blah 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 blah. Part 5 is better than part 1. Part 2 is better than part 7," or whatever.
yeah,
I'm still making my way through the JoJo, but I can totally see why. Like I get it. Like I get
yeah.
it. You know. I still think we need to cover JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at some point on this podcast. Just saying. We can cover we can
Hey,
cover
buddy.
the first. We cover the
Hey,
first
buddy.
anime. It's only like
Hey,
8
buddy.
episodes.
Hey, buddy. Let me tell you. You have
But
another podcast to do that with.
no, that's a comic book podcast.
So, is manga not a comic book?
This is a specific comic book I cover, so
Well, then I
no.
don't know what to tell you on that. You're
But
gonna have to start another.
I don't want to cover the manga. I want to cover the anime.
I don't know. It might not
It's o-
ever happen.
it's only like 9 episodes. It's super short. We only have to watch Phantom Blood, not the
All
rest of
right.
it.
All right. So when we get to episode 200, this will be put on the stock for that. Because you're already making me watch Ekin for episode 100.
All right.
Goodness. I can see it now.
It'll be episode 101.
I can see it now. I can see it now. 2 years, and you're gonna be like, remember that one day when you made that promise? If we get to episode 200, that we're gonna cover JoJo's, okay? And we're like, shoot me now.
All right, so my overrated next manga
Number 4.
is number 4 is Sword Art Online. This manga, I feel like, has hurt and helped the isekai genre in so many ways. I just think it's very overrated, and it's not a good isekai. And I think the characters are very poorly written, and I feel like there was so much more you could do with this particular manga that has not been done, like address like Kirito's PTSD
Yeah.
and stuff like that, with like go really heavily into it, because some stuff does happen. Write a competent female character, that would be nice, who just isn't there to fawn over Kirito
Yeah.
and have his weird make believe virtual harem, which is weird, you know.
Right.
Kirito almost has like a Goku syndrome where he's the best at everything.
I'm the best. Didn't he have like a broken code or something that makes him like the best?
Oh, I don't remember.
It probably
but
wasn't explained well anyway.
I only watched like the first season. And like he got out of the show. I only watched and read the first season of the manga, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So number 3. So my number 3 is also one that I really like, but I have to say that I do know that it is overrated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I know that it's hardcore overrated,
Uh-huh.
but my number 3 is Death Note.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I enjoy it. I like it. It's
Uh-huh.
a favorite of mine, but uh, it is very, very overrated.
Uh-huh.
Um, you know,
That's
I
funny that
I feel like if people were going to say anything about it, that usually kids nowadays, I hate saying that. That makes me sound
kids,
so
not
fucking.
kids nowadays.
That makes me sound so fucking old. You know, like, but Death Note seems like their cherry popper. Really, a lot of
Uh
people watch it
that
or read
one was
it.
a cherry popper for a lot of people, I think.
Exactly. And that's what throws me off about it is that it is so overrated because most of the time it's people's first and they're like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh my god, it's the best." And I'm like, "Have you not read some of this other shit?" Like,
So
so
so going into this podcast, um, we didn't we didn't tell each other our lists at all. Going into this, and making our lists.
yeah.
My number 3 is also Death Note.
Really?
Yes.
What are the odds of that?
Right? I
Goodness
have to
gracious.
yeah, I have to agree. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with the Death Note, and I also think that the fandom is a part of it for me. And honestly, like, once spoilers, L died, for me it was over. Like, I was like, there's no more point in reading this. Like, the cat and mouse game that I was interested in is gone.
Right.
Like, you took away that rivalry and them trying to one up each other, and then you give me this crappy replacement. uh
Literally two crappy replacements.
two crappy replacements. And I was like, when L dies, I was like, I closed the book, and I was like, no more. It's
I'm
over.
done.
It's over.
Just rip your book in half right there. This is the ending right here. The rest of
Yeah,
this doesn't. The
yeah,
rest of this doesn't even matter. Just this one right here.
yeah. No, I totally get it. Like, I get it. Like, I have read it. I have it sitting up in my anime collection. Eventually we were gonna do a whole thing on Death Note.
Yeah.
And cover it for
Well,
the podcast.
and my brother watches it every year, which I will
Yeah,
say that I enjoy the movies that have come out of it too, that are like 10 years past, 3 years past, whatever, from the Death Note original events with Light and everything. But the other thing is that it just has so much hype about it that it kills me because I'm like, you can only watch it, read it, or whatever so many times, and to say, oh, well, it's like the best. Well, the thing is, like you said, after L dies and the mystery's kind of taken out of it, it just becomes kind of like we're already beaten to the ground. How
yeah,
much longer? How much more do you have to dig before it's fully buried?
yeah. No, totally. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so number 2
Uh huh.
of overrated for me.
Hmm.
Again, we didn't go over our list before we talked about this, but
Oh
my number
no.
2 is Sword Art Online.
Do we just think
That
alike?
I think we're just men of taste. We know
Oh.
enough about which ones are really shitty. I mean, but the other thing is, like, we know when to admit, like, we really enjoy this series because of XYZ, but it is overrated.
Yeah.
Um, for me, part of it was also from the anime of them kind of saying they're gonna do it and believing in the isekai aspect of it, that they were gonna go through this 100 levels of things, and that's how it was presented. That it is going to be an isekai, a video game isekai, where they're going to do this. It's going to be medieval, not random video games. That they are going to hop into like 12 different ones and go on a journey in each one and figure out what the fuck they're
Well,
going to do.
they actually, the author went back and did the story of the 100 levels.
It's too late.
I know it is too
But
late, but
somebody
it is too.
somebody told me that already. Somebody told me that already, and I was like, I don't care at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I think when we were at that Barnes and Noble together, that's when I found out about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, I just don't care. we're
yeah.
too
No,
far in.
totally. Yeah,
I don't care
yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
So it just. I mean, that's about it. Like, I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah,
So I mean,
totally.
and I've watched some of the animes and stuff for it too, or whatever, because I'm not picking up any of the manga.
Yeah.
Um, it didn't get any better.
No, it
It just
doesn't.
I felt like you could have changed the characters up a little bit, changed the names, and it would have been
Because
exactly the same
I
Sword Art
have a I
Online.
have a coworker who really, really likes Sword Art Online. He is all in, he loves it, and I'll ask him about it, talk to him, and he'll be like, "Yeah, this going on," and he's gotta fix his soul, or his soul has been damaged at one
Yeah,
point, and I'm like, "What?" But it's a computer game.
right. Well,
Like,
see, and here's another aspect. And if we did top 10, this one would be in my top 10 one,
yeah.
probably at 7 or 6. But the Fate Stay Night series, I watched one of those and thought it was really good. Well, now that
Mhm.
you have so much different stuff and it spills over, and you have like maybe one or two recurring characters. I can't get into that. Like when the others one of them came out, I was like, I can't watch this. Like it just.
Well, some of them I believe, are connected and some of them aren't. Because
So
a lot of the Fate Stay Night stuff is, it depends on what you watch, and it's a lot like the light novel where you go off into different routes. So
yeah,
each depending on what it is, like each one is like a route. So you have like
yeah.
Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, and then Fate Stay Night Heaven's Field. That's like the main series, I believe.
Oh,
Don't
so
don't
they're not like years later.
No, don't roast me on this Fate Stay Night, fans, because I don't remember off the top of my head. Okay, like the ins and outs of the Fate universe, but there is a big extended Fate universe, and I mean, there's
Hey,
other ones out there.
if you get roasted, it was fate.
That's true, and I mean, there's even one out there. There's even one out there where they just do. They're like in a on a cooking show, and there's one out there where they are like magical girls, but in the Fate
Oh,
universe.
so what you're saying is we need to have Doctor Strange come and connect those multiverses too.
No, no, not at all.
Oh my gosh. All right, so you're number 2.
So my number two, as much as I like this one, it has flaws.
Yeah.
My number two is Helsing. This manga is such a product of its time, which was
Yeah.
like the 90s. um, there are cool things that happen in it, that I was like, action scenes and whatnot, and all the characters are cool, and there's parts that just take me out of the manga where they have these weird wacky panels with like scribble drawings and stuff,
Oh
um
yeah.
and like nothing like really truly hurts Alucard, so I don't really feel the stakes in the manga for it,
Yeah.
and Alucard's like all powerful and whatnot, even though he does some pretty cool shit.
Right.
I can see As much as I enjoy most of the manga. That like for me, this is over hyped or overrated.
Yeah,
Um, I just with that one kind of the fandom a little bit as well. People telling me, "Ooh, Helsing's good. Helsing's good. Oh, you gotta watch Helsing Ultimate. Helsing Ultimate. It's like the manga. Oh, I read the manga. I enjoyed it, but I can see its faults. you know, I've
yeah.
read like the first 3 volumes.
Goodness gracious.
you know, I don't know if it gets better after that, but I have read it.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. Well, I mean, that's all I can think about.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I don't know. Do you have a
my
difference of opinion on Helsing than I do? So you've read
no, I
it.
mean, I like it. I enjoy it. I don't really feel like there's a lot of people that read it. I think it's other people that are like, oh my gosh. And when we had the reprinting with the leather-bound books and
hmm
stuff, I think it got a little bit of a resurgence. But when it was done, like it died off as quickly as it started. So I mean,
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like there's that much of a draw to
hmm
that. Now, if we said like people wanting to buy it,
Yeah.
I would definitely have to agree with you on that part because there are many people that view Helsing as like a holy grail, and
For a
I
while before those reprints, it kind of was.
yeah, and I mean I agree to that, but if I don't enjoy one of the holy grails that supposedly I have that I spent a bunch of money on, why would I want it? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, I get you.
So
I get you.
I just don't. I don't view that when people just want it more of like the clout issue and be like, oh, well, I have
Yeah.
Hellsing. Well, have you read it? No.
yeah.
See, especially if you bought the leather ones, because weren't those almost $50 as well?
Yeah, but they got discounted greatly in price,
Yeah,
so you can pick them up for like $30 now on Amazon.
I don't need them. I have the originals.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. But
yeah,
they also come with like extra stories as
yeah.
well. Like it came with like extra stuff.
So, well, talking about leather bound books, my
Oh no!
first overrated one
Oh
also
no!
comes in a leather bound book.
Oh shit!
You want to take a stab at this one?
Is it black and
It is.
red?
It is black. Yeah, it is red.
Is there a is there a symbol on the front?
Yeah, there's a symbol on the front.
Is it
You know,
berserk?
the main character has a big sword. No, it's Inuyasha. No, it's Berserk.
Oh, wait, it's not. Is it Blade of the Immortal?
No, it's Berserk.
Okay.
Yeah. Goodness. No, I mean, I feel in every aspect that Berserk doesn't light up boxes for me, if that
And
makes
you've
sense.
you've read Berserk, like you collected and read it.
I have everything that's come out, and it is one of the only series that's in my collection that I hate that I have it.
Why?
Just because well, let's go into this because this could be an hour conversation in and of
Oh,
itself.
all right, all right.
Uh Number one, it's overrated. I do not enjoy how the story jumps around too much.
Uh huh.
It really seems like it's a flavor of the week kind of shit. And if you really look on the outside of the covers, the ones that change covers usually change the story or change
hmm
the color of the covers. It's usually a change in the story. So if they're not usually the same color together, then it doesn't really go with it. There's not a cohesion.
hmm
Um, I hate that about it, and I know there's people that are going to argue, oh well, it's something. But the thing is, I could take a book and say, hey, me and Mike are giant slayers. Oh well, now we're fighting dragons and cooking them to eat, and Oh wait, did I tell you that we both started practicing being wizards? In chapter 3. It's just too much stuff that changes, so I can't ever feel like I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Um,
I have not read Berserk, so I cannot say anything about it.
yeah.
I mean, I,
I mean, but it just does that. The ideas change too much. Things get added into it, and you might see one character in one set of chapters or whatever, and never see anything like that again.
mhm,
Um, they make it seem like there's going to be a bunch of mythical creatures in it when you start reading it, or that it's a demon book, and that's what's in the world. And then they add mythical creatures into it that just goes off the rails, like it doesn't make any sense. And then you get like all this other stuff. I mean, it just kind of goes into it. It's very congested, I feel like, with the ideas. If we were going to triple the series and make it as long as One Piece or something like that, then sure, you could slowly start maneuvering into things like that, I feel like.
mhm.
But the way that it is now, everything just seems like I told you let's play cards and threw a stack of random cards at you, that you have Magic cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards, playing cards, and whatever other random games are out there. And I told you, hey, build a deck out of this and we're going to play. And you're like, how the fuck am I going to do that?
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah.
it's a mixed bag of tricks. Of course, the fandom is another big thing for it, because everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, da, da, da,
I
da."
don't think the fandom is as bad.
It's not as bad as JoJo, but I think the fandom is still pretty bad on a lot of things with that.
I think
Um,
you can get some good fans like our buddy Darth Penn.
that's true,
Yeah.
but I mean, just the other people that overwhelm that.
Yeah. I get you. I
So,
get you. I mean, you're
and,
always
and I
gonna
mean,
have those fans.
I've read other ones that kind of are the same way as Berserk, their grittiness and everything else, like
Uh-huh.
Goblin Slayer, but it seems like that one has more of a consistency to it.
I guess.
And
I
of
mean,
course, the other one of the other things is, and you can't really like throw it out, because people just don't say, hey, today's going to be the day that I die or whatever. But now that Berserk's really not going to finish at all, it it also just drops it down, even worse for me. you know
way to twist the knife in the back. Jeez.
I don't know what to say. But
God damn.
you could have an ending that could redeem something, and now we're not going to have that.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I mean,
Okay.
and nobody wants to touch it, so
So that was your number one.
that was my number one.
So my number one is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3.
All of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
No, just Part 3.
What a dig.
Just Stardust Crusaders. I am I am currently almost done with Part 3. I enjoyed Part 1. I enjoyed Part 2. When I got to Part 3 has its ups and its fucking downs. Like, oh my god, like I don't even know how to explain it. Like it's the I've become so like uninterested at the part where I'm at, and it just I don't know. It's just a slog to get through.
Yeah.
I don't know if the JoJo hype is dying down for me, or maybe I just went into it too fast, or maybe part 3 just kind of sucks.
Yeah,
You
that's what
know,
it
like
is.
there are some really cool fights in it, and whenever the bad guy does show up, and it's cool. But
Yeah.
there are some times where like I don't care. Like where they're trying to go to Egypt, that's the whole thing, to fight Dio, and you introduce this new thing called stands, but then you take away the Hamon, which is like this special breathing technique or whatever fighting technique that they had in the first two JoJo's. So you take that completely away, basically, and you replace it
Yeah.
with this new thing where you have these like beings that like live in you and have these special powers. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it all connects back to the first two and stuff like that, which is cool. You know, keep your continuity, but you know, as a self-contained story, I don't think it's as leading to be as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And you know, and JoJo's Part 3 is kind of held up in really high regard. I, I f- I felt like, you know, and I don't know, it just not doing it for me. Like
Yeah.
I just don't care. You know,
Yeah. That's
I
fair.
don't know. I don't know how to explain it. You know.
So I did have an honorable mention on mine.
Oh, you did.
I guess it would be more of a dishonorable mention since we're
Dis
doing the overrated.
dishonorable mentions.
So I only had one for that, which wasn't that bad
Okay.
because I definitely thought I would have more.
Okay.
But Neon Genesis Evangelion,
The manga.
yes,
Okay.
I yeah, I mean that was it. There's
Yeah.
nothing else to. I know like a lot of people love it, but it just nothing ever seems like it is congruent with that as well for me.
Okay. I see. I can see that. You know.
Yeah. Do you have any undishonorable mentions?
No, not really. Not really.
All right, so now we're in the underrated.
Underrated.
So, do you want to go
Do,
first on this one?
do you want me to? Do you want me to go first? Okay.
You
So
can.
I did some deep pools for underrated manga. I feel like.
Deep
Um,
pools.
this one I actually do have a honorable mention for this one, but I'll save it for later. So
Okay.
my first one is a manga called Midori Days. If you don't know what Midori Days is, it's about a delinquent named Seiji who has a demon right hand, and his demon right hand turns into a girl. Yes, I said that right. A girl who is secretly in love with him, and they have to, you know, live life like this for a while. And it's a fun, like, little romantic comedy, like action romantic comedy type of thing. It's funny as fuck. But when you kind of explain the premise to people, they don't watch it, you know, or read it, you know, because it is both an anime and manga, you know. And I
Yeah.
get like it is kind of out of print, so it is kind of hard to find. So I can understand why it's underrated. But it does have like a cult following fan base. So like it there is like a cult following for it, but I feel like it deserves more than it has gotten.
Yeah.
And to me it's personally very underrated
Yeah.
because I don't see it in collections. I don't see people talking about it, you know, and it's a weird quirky manga.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know if you even heard of this manga.
Just from you.
See, yeah,
See, yeah. Goodness. So, my number 5 is actually one that you and I enjoy quite a bit.
okay,
I believe it is strongly underrated. Um, and that's actually the Pokemon Adventures manga.
oh, okay.
I think the big part about it is the hype. I think it's the hype based off of the video games already being out, the show, things like that. That
Hmm.
because it's under the Pokemon label, that it's supposed to be popular. But there are plenty of people that I've never seen in their collection. I've never heard anything about certain people, and then
Uh-huh.
actually getting to sit down and read it, it's amazing. And
I mean, I would
I think
I
it's
would
very
s-
underrated.
I would say that because I thought of it like that for quite some time
Right.
regarding the Pokemon manga, and we've talked about it on our podcast, before.
Yeah.
The Gotta Read Them All podcast. You know, I've, but I, yeah, I
Shame,
can see that.
shameless plug.
Shameless plug, yeah,
Yeah.
shameless plug, yeah,
So, but that's about it for that one.
yeah. All right, so my number four is Getter Robo Devolution, and this is made by the same team that made the Ultraman manga.
Yeah.
It's a 6-volume series, basically redoing the Getter Robo, like a new version of Getter Robo. I feel like it's very underrated because of the fact that it is Getter Robo itself, and
Yeah.
super robots are not popular with a lot of manga readers, and it's one that I do feel like people do overlook because of that, and it's like fucking crazy manga that deserves more. And then we find out it's connected to the original manga series.
Yeah.
I was like fucking blown away. I was fucking blown away, like how they were able to interconnect all this stuff, and I didn't even have to read the original series to enjoy it. Like I
Yeah.
enjoyed it that much, and I feel like it is a seven seas title, so people can take or leave seven seas. People are very divisive on them, like or divisive, I guess you could say, and
Yeah.
I mean, this is one series that I've been trying to get you to read forever. Like I'm like, you got to fucking pick this up. It is a fucking good book.
Yeah.
Giant robots, monsters,
Yeah.
dimensional travel,
Oh my
alternate
god.
dimensions.
Not
You know,
dimensional travel.
yeah, yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So, are we on number 4, right?
Yeah.
So, my number 4 is going to be. I just lost it.
How did you
My
lose it?
number, my number 4 is. I had a picture of it and somehow it got deleted.
Oh.
My number 4. We'll go with my number 3 then, I guess.
Well, what's your
Until I
number
can think of
4?
my number 4. I can't remember.
Oh God. All right.
I had it and then I lost it.
All right. All right.
My number 3 though is Black Torch.
Oh. Okay. Why is that?
I really enjoyed it when I read it. It made me feel like kind of the old days of like when Naruto and One Piece and stuff started out.
Uh-huh.
So I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't long enough to really feel like you weren't getting enough out of it.
Do you think it's because it was cut off at the knees and it only got like those like what like 6 volumes
Yeah.
because it got canceled?
No, I mean, it was. I think it was good enough because they did let them finish it.
Yeah. Or prematurely finish it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, but I really think that it could have been a little bit longer of a series and still done as well. Maybe like Siren or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah,
I mean,
that's about it.
I can definitely see that. I mean, because Black Torch kind of made like a ripple effect through the manga community, and like a lot of people were picking it up and stuff. And then kind of like when people found out that it was getting canceled, like it just got dropped like a bag of rocks. You
Yeah,
know, like I do see some people with it in their collection and stuff, but it's not like looked upon like oh this is a good manga, but there's always that asterisk, like it could have been more, could have been so much
yeah,
more in that aspect.
right.
Yeah.
For show.
So my number
So
three.
I guess with that one's my new number 4 for right now.
Okay, so my number 3 is a series that gets a lot of attention, but for the wrong things.
Yeah.
And I feel like for the wrong things, it's not like widespread accepted.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Gigant. I feel Gigant is totally underrated as a manga.
I can see that.
This manga is such a fun ride. It's a well told sci-fi adult story about this woman who is an adult film star who gets the ability to grow tall and fight giant monsters and stuff, and there's time travel involved and all this kind of shit. And I feel like people can't look past the fact that there are tits in it
Yeah.
to read a good story.
This is true.
Like, that's how I personally feel. Like, Gigant has been one of the most fun manga that I have read in the past year and a half. It pulls no punches. It tells a deep, meaningful story, and it's not all just tits and ass fan service. There are consequences to everybody's actions in the manga. And they're well developed
Right.
characters, but I feel like the one thing is the preconceived notion that it's just about tits.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean,
Sometimes you got to read deeper into the story.
you got to read deeper into the titties.
Just jump straight in there, okay?
You just right straight in there.
Goodness gracious.
I mean, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a lot of people that actually um, give it enough of a chance because that's how the cover is presented.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's the same thing looking at like some of the BL manga and stuff that comes in. Part of us don't want to read it because it looks like it's gonna
Oh, yeah,
be
true.
be
Most
about
definitely.
guys getting rapey or whatever with each other. But
Yeah. No, I told. Yeah.
then
No. No. Yeah.
then hearing it secondhand from somebody else that does read more of that stuff and is like, oh no, that never happened. Okay, well that's the cover presented it that way though. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
um, so my next underrated one,
Is this your number 4?
yeah, I can go back to my number 4.
What's your number 4? Do you
So my
remember it
number
now?
4, yeah, my number 4 is Platinum In,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
and
Well.
I think it's because of the offset from Death Note. We have these black angel guys that are like gods of death and things like that.
Uh huh.
And I really think that Platinum In got kind of the end of the stick because people hear the word angel and they're like, well, that's not a Shinigami.
Uh huh.
But I feel like Platinum In is a lot deeper
Like,
and a lot better than Death Note.
I've read like the first couple volumes, like first 3 volumes,
Yeah,
and um, I thought it was an interesting setup. The world was interesting, and the whole getting an angel and have each person had like different powers, and didn't they like once they killed another angel like person, they got those powers.
yes,
Right, and they had to kill. And it was almost like a tournament, kind of like a secret tournament,
yeah,
kind of, if I remember correctly.
yes,
I would definitely have to go back and reread that one or try to find it
yeah,
because that one kind of interesting. I don't know why. I just ended up dropping that one.
yeah,
Uh, but I remember enjoying like the first couple volumes
right.
a lot more than Death Note because that one was kind of
Well,
weird.
yeah,
Like that was definitely like a weird like manga. And I feel like I would agree that that one is definitely overrated and almost overshadowed. I would say almost that a
underrated.
lot of a lot of the manga that has been after Death Note that those creators have made has been overshadowed by Death Note,
Yeah.
in my opinion. In my opinion, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. S- so my number one. Can you guess what my
You're
number
number
one
two.
is?
You're number two.
Oh, number two. I'm sorry, number two. So my number two is a sports manga called Cross Game. It's
Oh, okay.
I f- I feel like it's underrated because when it comes to sports manga, you always get brought up Slam Dunk, Ice Shield 21,
Yep.
and maybe like Kuroko no Basket now, and uh, what's the other one? The volleyball one. Haikyuu,
Uh,
Haikyuu,
yeah,
Haikyuu,
yeah,
Haikyuu. This one is a baseball manga about baseball. And it's
yeah.
about these two kids who love baseball and their childhood friends, and one's a boy, one's a girl. So we have a shonen book with two protagonists in it, uh, which is not common. And their friend, no, this the girl, I can't remember what her name is off the top of my head. Her sister dies, and because her sister dies, like the male character, the boy, like ends up giving up baseball, giving up the thing that he loved, and one day, before she died, she had a dream that they would both go to Kyoshi and like play and win the Kyoshi tournament. And it's their struggles to get on the baseball team to go to Kyoshi, how it affects the characters, like gender wise, because the males do not accept the females on the baseball team at all. And there's a lot of downplaying of her abilities and stuff like that. It's very much like a real world take on baseball,
Yeah.
and how and it's not like crazy over the top stuff like Ice Shield 21. It's like it's a good read. It's a good fun read
Right.
that I think it does get overshadowed because it's not those other ones, and it fully came out over here
Right.
in English, and it's accessible to get. It's one of those Shonen Sunday titles that nobody really reads. Yeah,
Yeah.
that, I,
True.
yeah, like it's a really good, like there's a whole, like it doesn't like they see the base, you get to see the baseball games and stuff, but like it doesn't fully focus on those all the time. You
Yeah.
get a nice balance between their life and baseball itself, and how the each one intertwines with each other. Like there's a whole arc where like one of them has to actually recover from an injury, and it takes him a while, and it affects him, and he ended up
Yeah.
getting hurt and stuff, and
Well,
how he
this sounds
overcomes
like
that.
a track and field manga that I really like, which is Suzuka.
Yeah, it's a lot like, I would say it's a lot like Suzuka. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, yeah. But yeah, yeah. That's my number two is Cross Game.
Okay.
Definitely go
So
check out Cross Game. It's really
so
good.
my number two, and you're gonna laugh about it
Oh boy, oh
because
boy.
I know I know you will.
Okay.
So my number two is Inuyasha.
Huh.
And I really feel like the big deterrent of it being underrated is the fact of some people see how many volumes it is and they don't want to get into it because of how long it is.
Uh huh.
Um, or the fact of you didn't grow up kind of in the same era as we did. I mean, Inuyasha was huge, and I don't really
Uh huh.
feel like I don't feel like a lot of people nowadays even attempt to want to get into it or anything
Hmm.
because you have the Black Clover, because you have One Piece still
Or
going on.
like the repres. I can't talk. The Oh god, what was I gonna say? The misconception that it's a girl manga It's for girls.
That's true too.
You know,
I
like
Yeah, I mean, but I really feel like a lot of people. I mean, because it took you forever to read it as well.
yeah, and I grew up in that. I grew up in that era. I watched Inuyasha, um, and I didn't watch all of it, but I would watch it from time to time. You know,
Yeah,
I was the big fan. Honestly, what got me to go read the manga was the sequel, Yashahime.
right, right.
I was like,
See,
oh, I want to know
and
more about this.
I think that probably has some more people going to it, which I'm proud about. But I think
Yeah,
that just overall, there weren't a lot
yeah.
that did that.
Which I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited for that manga when it comes out.
Yeah, Judge Hime.
Yeah, I am. So I
So
only watched like the first couple episodes.
yeah,
All right.
but yeah. So number ones. What's your number one, Mike?
Sorry about that. Jin had to take a potty break. He was going to
Nobody,
pee on himself.
nobody would have had to known that. Where I paused it at, nobody would have known.
I just had to add that in.
Whatever. Most of the
So
time, we'll get done, and you'll be like, "Oh, I gotta take a shit."
that's true. That's true.
You already need to do it, don't you?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Right.
I'm almost done recording 2 fucking podcasts, okay? Straight in a row, back to back, okay?
That's true.
Um, so my number one, I feel like is not a surprise to if you follow my channel. It's not a surprise. My number one is Not Lives.
I can see that.
That manga, it's a battle shonen manga. It's 10 volumes, really short, Uh, it's very much one of those books where I feel like people judged it on its covers
Yeah.
because nobody has really covered it. I think only maybe like a handful of people, maybe less than 3. One of them was me, you know, uh, because the covers look like they're like dating sim covers.
Yeah.
Like it very much pulls the wool over your eye if you just look at it. This is like a romantic comedy right here. Put it back. But yeah, it's just a vicious battle shonen about this guy who he's good. He makes video games and he gets like unfortunately sucked into a video game, and his avatar is another person, and he has to work together with this other person to survive and win this game in order to not just save himself but his avatar, who
Yeah.
you know is as a person, an actual person,
Yeah.
and it's a really interesting story, and it's one that I really like without going into too many details. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my number one. That's one that Jin has been trying to find forever because
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever got like a second printing. It
I
might
don't
have
think so.
I might have just got like a one and done printing was from Seven Seas. I think it was earlier on in their publishing, like they weren't as big as they are now. So
Yeah.
like, it's one that I recommend wholeheartedly. Like it's a fun
Which
manga.
did you have an honorable mention as well?
Oh, my honorable mention is No Guns Life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I did
Yeah.
not think that would be the one that you would have picked.
Why?
I don't know. I just didn't think that.
Yeah,
Um,
no guns life. Even though I feel like it's starting to catch steam, I feel like it still is underrated because it is a cyberpunk manga,
yeah,
and I mean, it's a crazy premise. That's really all I
yeah,
can say
yeah.
about it. Yeah,
Um,
but it's still trucking along.
so I have 2 honorable mentions,
Oh, okay, okay.
which is Rurouni Kenshin. I feel like
Uh,
now it gets overshadowed by Blade of the Immortal and some
I
of the
just
other
think it
ones.
gets overshadowed by what happened.
That's true too. Um, and my other one is Black Cat. Um, I see a few people have it or want it, not
Yeah.
very many though. And
I mean
for it being
that one was fairly popular back in the day.
right, right. I would have like thrown Siren in with it, but more people have read and went after Siren than Black Cat. So,
Yeah. And those
and
were
as
kind of published around the same time, right?
no, Black Cat was way before Siren.
Okay.
But Black Cat, as long as it ran, should there should be more people that like it or want it
Yeah,
or
because
something like that.
it was like over 20 volumes, correct?
Yeah, it's right at 20.
Okay, okay.
But there's plenty of people that
Maybe because it hasn't
don't
like
know
really
about
gotten
it.
like a reprint.
Yeah.
Really? You know,
So,
I don't see it in store. Like if I go
right,
to like a regular bookstore, I don't see it in there at
right.
all. You know.
So, and then uh my number one, I was gonna pick my all-time favorite because not enough people read that, which is Suikoden 3. But I decided, hey, I probably shouldn't be that person and have that as like my number one on everything. So I went with another favorite of mine that I don't hear anybody talk about, which is Moyo and Roji's Bureau of Supernatural Investigation.
You know, I think I saw that on somebody's manga haul like recently,
Yeah.
but I can't remember who it was.
But it is not a big one that a lot of people get into or enjoy, but it gives you that detective feel with the demons and everything else involved with it. And it's a very fun read. It's like 18 volumes as well. I mean, so it's pretty close to Black Cat in that instance.
Is it hard to find at all?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think so, but I also don't think it's that expensive. I just think people don't know about
Yeah.
it.
So I remember
And it,
you wanted me to read it at one
yeah,
point. And I haven't gotten around to buying
and
it.
and it's a series I feel like could have went on for longer, but same thing probably happened like with Black Torch, where they were like, hey, you need to wrap this up, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so, but I mean, it's a very fun manga. I feel like some of the other ones that we have today are very close to that one.
Yeah.
Um, they're
You
just
know
a
what
little
I would add to
different.
that? Hiding Closer as an
That's
honorable
true.
mention. Hiding
That's
Closer
true.
nobody talks about.
That's true. That is very true. There's not very many people that I hear talk about that either.
I think it's just you and me, buddy.
Right? You and me and the person that sold it to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean that's basically my list in a nutshell. I'm sure there's other ones. I'm sure there's other ones that could be different. I'm sure we could have extended this out to 15,
So
20
I want to ask
underrated,
you a
overrated.
question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Did you have a hard time making your lists?
Um yes and no. My overrated one was fairly easy. My underrated one was the one that I had more trouble with.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
just
I did too.
because,
I had problem making my lists, like my
yeah,
underrated list.
just
Yeah.
because I think there are so many good ones out there, like Remonster and some other stuff like that, that
Yeah.
nobody reads, but it's still getting printed and everything else. So somebody else has got to be reading it,
Yeah. They're just not talking about it.
right? So, um, just stuff like that.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
But yeah,
Totally
no, I
get it.
mean that's probably all I really had.
Yeah. Did you have fun
My
with this
overrated.
episode?
I did have fun with this
Yeah.
episode.
That's
Yeah,
good.
it was. I felt like this is kind of a different episode than what we're actually usually used to.
Yeah. We normally don't do tier lists.
Yeah,
That-
we
yeah.
we don't do random normie subjects. You know,
What's a normie subject?
ones that everybody has done 100 times.
Uh,
They do, and they do it every year.
I think because we did it in like no real order. So like you can place these whenever order you want, really. Like I just it was easy for me to number them.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't
That's
hate
true.
one more than the other. They're all hated equally.
I mean, my 5 are kind of hated the same amount.
I said they're hated equally. Like
So,
the hate is spread equally across the 5.
the hate is real.
The hate is real.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I had fun
I
with this one.
well, that's good. I'm glad that I
Yeah,
suggested this.
yeah.
Um, but for anybody else out there listening, send us an email, message us on one of our forms of social media. Let us know if you agree with our list. If you don't agree with our list, what's on your list, things like that. But anyway, as always, see you next Tuesday. See you later.